Good evening. This presentation is a part of sessional base assignment for semester 4th and the topic is double flank rolling test. Before directly moving into the topic, let's get to know about gears. Gears are mainly used for transmission of power or motion from one shaft to another without slip. Thus, they are positive in action and provide constant velocity ratio. Gear metallurgy refers to a special branch of metallurgy as relevant to gear accuracy, gear measurement techniques and instruments. The main objectives are check the compatibility. That means the level of gear accuracy with the specified tolerance before actual use. It is to assure required accuracy and quality. To provide an insight into the performance of the gear manufacturing process, which includes the setup of gear making machine tools, condition of gear cutting tools, machine tool control and basic machining practices. Determine the distortions which is caused by possible heat treatment to facilitate corrective action. Minimize overall cost of manufacture by controlling rejection and scrapping. Gear accuracy. Gear accuracy refers to how closely its main geometrical feature resembles the theoretical design. Gears are complex geometric shapes and are therefore specified by a range of appropriate dimensions. There are two major classes of gear accuracy measurement: analytical inspection and functional inspection. The analytical gear inspection is used by the manufacturers to determine if a gear meets the geometric specifications as described by a set of appropriate dimensions. The analytical gear inspection is subdivided into two parts: macrogeometrical measurement and microgeometrical measurement. Functional or composite gear inspection is a qualitative method of evaluating gear accuracy where the main objective is to compare a gear to the required specifications as provided by a reference gear. The functional inspection is of two types: double flank inspection and single flank inspection. Double flank inspection and its principle. In double flank inspection, the gears are rolled closely meshed such that there is double flank contact, therefore no backlash. It presents a schematic of double flank inspection along with an example of a typical double flank roll test. The basic principle of the double flank test is based on a master gear, a near perfect gear, and a workpiece in rolling contact, free from backlash. The inspection machine has one rotational axis which is fixed and one which is movable. The center distance variations during the rolling process are caused by form errors on the workpiece and are the basis of the quality assessment. Composite testing of gears consists in measuring the variation in center distance when a gear is rolled in tight mesh with a specified or master gear. Composite gear checking are of two types. As you can see in the figure, total composite error and tooth to tooth error. Total composite variation is the center distance variation in one complete revolution of the gear being inspected, whereas tooth to tooth composite variation is the center distance variation as the gear is rotated through any increment. A uniform tooth to tooth variation shows profile variation, whereas a sudden jump indicates the pitch variations. Composite type of checking take care of all the errors in the gears. It is specially very much suited for large gears as it always ensures control over the tooth spacing. The composite method of checking is very much suitable for checking worn gears. Uses of double flank roll test. Double flank test is a technique that has been used in the gear industries to identify potential manufacturing defects in the design intent of the gear. It is a practical, fast, and effective screening tool that can identify when the gear manufacturing process has deviated from an ideal condition that could result in a loss of conjugate action, a change in backlash, or an unwanted noise in a gear mesh. This results in the form of profiles that are obtained so errors can be identified without actual measurement. Apparatus of Parkinson gear tester. The test itself involves a apparatus where a master gear of known precision is mounted on a fixed base with only rational freedom. The test gear is mounted on a floating slide mechanism that allows rotation of the test gear and movement along an axis between the line of centers of the master and test gear. A spring with a preset force pushes the floating slide, resulting in zero backlash. Double flank contact, that is, on both left and right flanks, on both the test gears and the master gear. And in last we have mechanical indicator or electronic detector for detecting irregularities.
After getting to know about the different apparatus present in the Parkinson gear tester, in this slide we'll talk about the design concentration of the master gear. The master gear is known as a standard gear and it meshes with the test gear and tells us about the accuracy of that test gear. The master gear is made up of chromium manganese tool steel and it must meet the following three criteria in order to mesh properly with the test gear in a double flank roll test. The first is the tip of the master gear must not contact the test gear. The contact ratio between the master gear and the test gear must be always between 1 and 2. And the last being the master gear and the test gear must have the same normal base pitch. There are two types of master gears which are classified upon the grade of the test gears they mesh with. Type A master gears are used for checking precision gears of accuracy up to class 7. In the column given on the slideshow, we can see the different grades of the gears and their corresponding errors in microns. We can clearly see that for grade 1 to 7 the error is less. That means these gears are more precise. For these master gears of type A are used, but for grade 8 to 12 the master gears of type B are used, where error in microns is comparatively more. In this slide, we'll talk about the working of the double flank roll tester. So a master gear is mounted on the fixed vertical spindle and the testing gear is mounted on another vertical spindle, that vertical spindle is mounted on a floating or a sliding carriage. Now involute theory states that the perfectly formed teeth will prevent any movement of the floating slide between the line of centers, but we know that no such gear can be manufactured mm, that has perfect conditions. So there will always be some movement of the floating slide as the gear rotates. Now when the gear rotates, the magnitude of the movement is measured with either a mechanical indicator like a dial gauge or an electronic detector that shows the behavior of the floating slide mechanism, and any error in the tooth form, the pitch or the concentricity will cause a variation in the center distance, and this will be measured with the recorder. As the double flank roll tester is a mechanical device, there are many sources of error that are associated with it. So we look at a few of these errors. One of them is that there is sometimes some excessive resistance that comes from the mounting of the master gear or the test gear on their respective mandrels. Another source of error can be the improper preset spring force, which can separate the double flank contact between the test gear and the master gear, and this will create an error in the measured value. Other errors include errors due to unwanted vibrations and the errors present already in the dial indicator. In the previous slide, we learnt about the various sources of error and how they can affect our reading in a negative way. In this slide, we'll talk about the various ways by which we can get the best output on our recorder. The first way is to keep intimate double flank contact at all times. The second is that the measuring instrument is calibrated to an actual distance reading between the center of the gears, and then only an accurate tight mesh can be obtained. We also need to take into consideration a test gear's design and select the pre-set spring force accordingly. And this is important because we need to check the material's ability to resist the deformation under load. The correct preset spring force is the minimum force needed to maintain continuous double flank contact without distorting the test gear. The speed of rotation of the gears should also be selected by taking into account the natural response of the mechanical and the electrical elements of the tester. In this slide, we have written down the cost of an actual Parkinson gear tester with motorized machine and recorder. As you can see, it costs rupees 45,000 a piece. We were also able to find the cost of making an handmade model of the same by using plastic gears, spindles, bearing, motor and frame, and a plunger or a dial gauge. The following column describes all the parts and the number of items used and the material they are made of and the cost of some of these. So here we end our presentation on the topic double flank roll test. So I hope you liked the presentation. Although due to such unfortunate circumstances we were unable to cover this topic in classroom, but after doing such extensive research on the double flank roll test, both of us now feel quite contented with this topic. So both of us would like to thank you for being so understanding and helpful in such times. In the next slide, I have attached the references by which we are able to make this presentation. Thank you.